It's close to 40 days now since Israel launched offensive against the Hamas, and today they claimed a massive win against the terror organization by capturing both its parliament and its military police headquarters. Israel released pictures of its soldiers from the Golani Brigade waving the Israeli and brigade flags inside the police headquarters in Gaza City. A similar picture was also released of them inside the Gazan parliament, located at the Omar al-Mukhtar street, right in the heart of Gaza. And that's the reason why Israel said that this is proof that now, in the very heart of Gaza, Hamas has completely lost control. Civilians are looting Hamas bases since they have no confidence in the government. But the IDF's focus is not on Hamas's terror infrastructure alone in Gaza. Their crackdown on hospitals has drawn outrage cries from Doctors Without Borders, UN and Amnesty. In the last 1 month, several hospitals have been in the Israeli army's crosshairs. The IDF says this is because they are being used as fronts by the Hamas. These include the Rantisi Children's Hospital, where Israel claims to have unearthed tunnels and underground chambers where weapons and getaway vehicles were stored, and even people were allegedly kept as hostages. In fact, here is a report that the IDF has released from within the Rantisi hospital.
I'm here in Gaza City. We are here next to a house of a terrorist. This is one of the senior terrorists who is the head of the operational naval operations that led the raids into Israel. His house is right next to a school. His house is 200 yards from the hospital of Rantisi. Next to his house, there is a tunnel. It's built with electricity. We first saw the solar panels, then the electricity goes here, and it goes down directly to the tunnel. Now you can see the tunnel. You can see the tunnel. We're now entering into the area of the hospital. I want to show you a room where we found all the gear, the operational gear of Hamas. Hamas is using hospitals, like we showed the evidence in Shifa Hospital, in other hospitals.
Okay, so that was the Children's Hospital. Then there's the Shifa Hospital in the north, where the IDF claims that the Hamas has built its control center, hosting the organization's leadership after October 7. They also released a 3D animation to this effect, which they claimed was based on intelligence. Last week also saw heavy fighting outside the Al-Quds hospital, in which 21 people were killed. Israel claims that those killed were Hamas terrorists who are fighting at Israeli soldiers from within and around. In fact, they have released this video that shows a man firing an RPG at Israeli soldiers from right next to the entrance of the hospital and then running inside. You can see what they claim is a terrorist with an RPG launcher right in the vicinity of the hospital. He then moves into the hospital premises. Now, these claims, of course, have been denied by the Gazan health authorities and doctors. A British doctor working at Al-Shifa said that Israelis' claim are outlandish. Human Rights Watch, US campaign group, also said they could not independently corroborate the allegation. So the question is, can Israel continue to carry out a campaign against hospitals by claiming that Hamas has tunnels underneath them, or does it stand guilty of targeting the weakest of the weak in the times of war? Dr. Dalal IRIQAT, a columnist, joins us along with Achia Klein, who is a former officer of the IDF. Dr. IRIQAT, what do you make of these images? Because there is an actual video of a man with an RPG launcher right next to Al-Quds hospital.
Well, thank you very much. It took the IDF spokesperson 38 days to try to construct his propaganda in justifying the continued war crimes. For 39 days, where almost 15,000 civilians in Gaza are perished, are killed, and are still targeted by the Israeli fire, missiles, tanks, every home, every residential building, the mosques, the churches. So, of course, this is very logical that for the IDF spokesperson to try to justify the continued war crimes. Yet, what I want to share with you is that Israel is violating the international humanitarian law. Hospitals, by all means, fall under full protection, even in times of war.
No, I'm sorry. Are you saying that this video is fake?
Let me finish.
These videos and images. If you could just talk about specifics.
Let me finish.
Are these tunnels?
Let me finish.
These videos of rockets being launched, are they fake?
Listen, ma'am. Article 19 of the Geneva Conventions grants full protection to the hospitals. What the IDF spokesperson is trying to rid those hospitals the protection if they were used for another humanitarian reasons. My message through you is that Israel can hold and can carry on private internal investigations as much as they can. But the party that has the legal jurisdiction to rule is the ICC. It's the International Court, the Criminal Court, that can have the final say. So my advice to you, if you believe in his videos, is that, okay, let end the investigation teams from a third party, neutral party, the one that has the international legitimacy for legal jurisdiction in the occupied territories. Let us have them in, because
but in the what will the ICC do if somebody is firing rockets at me? If somebody is firing rockets at me in self-defense, you have to counter that first. You can't go to the ICC and say, look, this man is killing me.
Amazing. So when Palestinians retaliate or when they self-defense from the residential areas from anywhere in Gaza, Gaza is 365 square kilometers. So if the Israelis continue to massacre Gaza, to send tanks and missiles and rockets and bomb homes, they should expect that civilians who have nothing to lose now, they don't have food, they don't have water, they don't have families, they don't have homes. Of course, they will defend themselves from anywhere in Gaza.
I think we are going off slightly on a tangent. But I just want to bring in Achaya Clean and ask you: are all of these tunnels just glorified Israeli propaganda? How do we know these tunnels exist?
I mean,
did you see tunnels?
I'm very happy to be here and to say, yes, I've been in the tunnels 10 years ago. It's not something new. I think what just said here a few minutes ago, I mean, why it take too long to the Israeli army, to IDF spokesperson to show this evidence? I mean, it's quite amazing that it took too much time, because all over the last few weeks, what the IDF did is to tell the citizens of Gaza, please evacuate yourself, please move, because we want to get in. And the reason why the Israeli army went into the Gaza Strip is because Hamas forced them to do that. Hamas was the first to attack and to force Israel to do the counter-attack in order to demolish Hamas. I mean, that's reasonable. That's not even like maybe, it's not a question, you know. Of course, the tunnel is real. I personally was injured in one of them. I mean, how can you be? I mean, I don't want to use the word blind, but that's it's blindness not to see the tunnel and not to say it's just propaganda. It's not exist. And I'm sure the IDF spokesperson, they do whatever there is in power to bring all over people to come and see it when the place will be safe enough to bring international
Dr. IRIQAT,
journalists and stuff like that.
Achaya Klein has actually been in the tunnels. He can testify firsthand that they exist, that they have explosives, including one which injured him.
It's to be honest, it's very despicable that I am speaking with an Israeli occupation military soldier now who has targeted his guns at Palestinian civilians. I have family, I have friends in Gaza who were killed and who lost their homes and who were forcibly displaced. And those who tried to evacuate from the north to the south were bombed. My friend's family was all killed as they were evacuating to the south. So please try to stop misleading the audiences with this very civilized humanitarian message that you are trying to send to the world, while in 75
he lost his
years,
eye.
all you have been doing...
He lost his eye in the tunnel. I mean, he was the aggressor here. He lost an eye.
He was trying to kill the Palestinian civilians in Gaza.
No,
Gaza,
I didn't.
1.1 million of the population in Gaza are children. What are you talking about? And I am telling you, if the ICC came to the border, they were begging Netanyahu to come in as investigation teams. So please don't try to spin people's minds in saying when it is a safe place.
Okay, I have no intention of doing that, but let's just quickly have Achaya Klein respond, because you've said that it's despicable that you have to speak to him. So let him quickly put his side across.
As a military occupation soldier, I was very clear. Don't put words in my mouth.
So just let me respond for that. I'm very sorry to hear what you feel, what you've been through. I mean, it's not. I feel sorry for that, but you know, even the tunnels that I was only in a defense mission to defend the Israeli border. And, you know, I got injured during a defensive mission, not try to kill anyone, not try to do something to anyone, only to defend the border. It was a tunnel under the border, and our mission was to demolish it. And I was injured by booby traps that were inside intentionally to get us hurt and not to be able to succeed our mission. Even my tunnel, before we went to the operation to demolish it, it took a few weeks. Once the tunnel was secure, we brought all the international journalists, international organization, they were invited, that was welcoming to come and see it once the place was secure enough for us to bring them. So I'm sure when the place will be secure enough, everyone will be invited to see what the evil of Hamas in Gaza, what they're doing there.
Okay, Dr. IRIQAT, I want to actually play out for you. Don't believe Israel, but there are two videos which have been released of Hamas terrorists who were arrested and subsequently interrogated, and they were asked specifically about the use of hospitals as cover or whether there was any infrastructure of the Hamas in the vicinity of any hospital. Here is what they said. If you can just listen into them.
اسمك رباعي ايش؟
حسان الجو.
اوكي، شو وظيفتك في الفصل؟
مسعف.
وين كنت في اسرائيل؟ المنطقة؟
موقع صوفا. أنا بعرف يعني مثلا سمعت حسب ما بسمع إنه مستشفى الشفاء بيستخدموها اللي بيتخبوا فيها، أما
مش كل المنطقة، مش كل الحارات عنا فيه. في عنا في تحت الحارات بس مش كل حارة فيها عين.
اوكي. أما المركز تاع كل الانفاق وين موجود؟
المركز في واحد لأسامة وواحد للمحاطة. المركز تبعهم. فرجع يوم
شو المحل اللي اليهود ما بكفوا أبدا؟ المستشفيات يعني، وشو العلاقة بين المستشفيات والانفاق هذه؟
المستشفيات أغلب المستشفيات بتخبوا من المستشفيات.
وبتخبوا إيش؟ تحتها يعني؟
فيش مثلا الشفا فيها طابق بودرة، ممكن في البودرة. الشفا كبيرة، مش صغيرة الشفا تبعها.
Now, these are people from Gaza, Dr. IRIQAT, who are saying yes, close to hospitals, and specifically about Shifa, that they are being used by the Hamas.
Ma'am, what I'm saying is very legal, very diplomatic, very peaceful, and very civilized. What I'm saying is that whoever has the legal jurisdiction to rule is the ICC. If we are civilized enough, and if we want to really investigate and hold Hamas accountable, we should let in the International Criminal Court. Karim Khan and his investigation teams are entitled to investigate and to decide who is a criminal and who should be held accountable. But what you are showing on your TV is just a more and more efforts in Israeli Hasbara and trying to mislead more audiences. And please try to urge your guest also to feel sorry for serving in the Israeli occupation forces and army that has been killing, torturing, and committing continuous war crimes against the Palestinian civilians.
With the greatest respect, how am I misleading? I am just showing evidence that has been put out. If you have counter evidence, please go ahead. It is just actual visual evidence and testimony.
I'm sorry,
listen,
but
I'm speaking to you in a very civilized manner.
I am.
I'm telling you, listen, let me. AI generated videos, so much money invested in their Hasbara and misleading strategic communication machines, misleading more audience. We are in 2023. You need to respect the brains of the people. You are an occupation army. Stop this occupation, end your occupation. What the hell are you doing in Gaza? If you have, and you spoke, no, hold on. He spoke about the borders. He said he was defending his borders. What borders are you talking about?
No, hold on a second. We'll talk about one thing at a time. So you're saying this is AI generated?
No.
You're saying this is all AI generated. These confessions, these videos, are they AI generated?
No, I said the other AI generated.
So why are these people confessing?
I have a question.
I'm talking specifically about evidence.
What is his country's borders? What are the borders of Israel?
Ma'am, with the greatest of respect, I want to keep it very specific. And if we are talking about hospitals being attacked, why are these people saying that we have infrastructure?
20 years ago,
when the Israeli army points the guns at their heads, when they torture them, of course they will say whatever pleases Israel.
Okay, let's take that across. Achia Klein, these are extracted confessions and these are AI-generated images. How can they be
I did not say
trusted?
that. I said other
One,
videos
and
are AI
two,
generated.
the ideal thing to do would be to go to an impartial third party like the ICC and have them judge instead of indiscriminately bombing hospitals. Achia Klein.
The difference between the Hamas member, the Nukhba members that were captured by Israel, that actually get some reasonable condition. They was visited by the Red Cross. We don't even know what about our kidnapped Israelis. We don't know what with them. If Hamas decide to release some video, okay, they release some video. What about the videos? Where is the humanity? Of course, there is no humanity there. But the very, as the Minister in Defense said a few weeks ago, if the citizens of Gaza want to put this to end, they would just need to push the Hamas leaders, push the Hamas soldiers out of their homes, out of the hospital, and just give them to the Israeli forces, and that will be end. That will be the end of this war. But of course, Hamas didn't allow the citizens to live, didn't let the citizens. Actually, do you know that Hamas is the capture of the citizens of Gaza? If it wasn't the force by Hamas, Israel would never go inside Gaza. Israel don't want to be in war, don't want to do this stuff what they're doing in Gaza, because we don't have any choice.
Dr. IRIQAT, in fact, I want to play out for you what the State Department spokesperson said in response to one such argument. They pretty much said that to question Israel at this time is to attack the victim. Let's just quickly listen in to the State Department spokesperson.
We would love to see all the people that are calling for Israel to take steps to protect hospitals call for Hamas to vacate the hospitals and stop using civilians as human shields. We would love to see Hamas take some of the fuel reserves it's sitting on and use that to supply hospitals in northern Gaza. We would love to see Hamas have taken the fuel that Israel offered it yesterday that they declined for use at Al-Shifa Hospital. So it's a very difficult situation. And I would say as a principle, I'll just restate what I said at the top, is we do not want to see civilians caught in the crossfire.
So as a matter of principle, America agrees with Israel's evidence, with Israel's videos, and with Israel's claims, Dr. IRIQAT.
Of course. The U.S. is actually shielding the Israeli war crimes with their vetoes in the UN, with their military equipment, with the $3.8 billion on an annual base, beside the billions that they were filled in the last weeks. My message to you is that everyone, including your guests, should be ashamed of what the Israeli military occupation is doing to the civilians. I'm not here to speak on behalf of Hamas. This is not a war between Israel and Hamas. For 75 years, we the Palestinian people have been suffering under a framework of Israeli military prolonged occupation, apartheid, confiscations, killings. In the West Bank, in the past 4 weeks, we have had more than 180 martyrs. Why? Israel is misleading the audiences by saying it's a war against Haram. Let me finish, please. Let me finish, please. One last thing that I want to clarify again to the audiences. If we want to counter Hamas, if we want to hold them accountable, let us bring in a third party, a civilized tool, a peaceful tool. It is not through violence and killing and shelling and bombing civilians.
100%. But is it possible to bring in a neutral third party bang in the middle of war when you're being shelled from the cover of hospitals? Even as we speak, there are rockets landing inside Israel as well. Civilian casualties on either side of the border are inhuman, but who's to blame for it? I'll leave it to your wisdom. Thanks very much, Dr. IRIQAT, as well as Achia Klein, for joining me.